remember when I was chair of the Democratic Party, there's no more thankless jobs than those who are the county chairman or precinct chairs. Could everybody here who's ever been a precinct chair raise your hand so we can give you a round of applause? Give them, the precinct chairs, a round of applause. They're important to the party. I'll tell you, I've been to a lot of places throughout the state. This is the 56th county, Linda, that I've been to since July 1. In many of those counties, they haven't seen the sitting governor for the last 10 years. I find Texans come from different backgrounds. They have different first languages. They have different heritage. Some have been here for 5 generations and some for 5 weeks. But Texans share certain things in common. First, we believe in hard work and opportunity, right? That's who Texans are. And second, I find Texans are ready for a new governor, aren't you? We need a governor who'll do what's right for Texas, for all Texans, not just one wing of one party like Rick Perry. We need a governor who understands that leadership starts with an example at the top. And I don't know about you, but there's something wrong, and certainly not conservative, about a governor who on one hand is cutting dropout prevention programs and community colleges, but on the other hand, he's living in a $2 million mansion paid for by taxpayers, $10,000 a month. Andrea and I will move into a double-wide trailer because we understand that tax dollars are precious and they ought to be put in public service, not in the service of one's lifestyle as governor. You know, we need a governor who will shoot straight that we can be proud of. In our Texas, we want more technology in our classroom. In Rick Perry's Texas, a state board of education wants to put politics in the classroom, and I think that's just wrong, don't you? That's just wrong. Look, I may not be the perfect candidate. When I ran for mayor, they told me that my ears were too big for TV. Oh, thank you. She said, better to hear you, really. But I'll tell you this. I just came from Haskell County. You know where Haskell County is? You know who's from Haskell County? Yeah. Rick Perry's home county. Good rally for me in Haskell County, by the way. That's true. And somebody said, when you're governor, well, you do like Rick Perry when he comes through the county. I said, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He says, well, when he comes through, and he comes when he comes to Haskell County, there's this whole entourage that comes of state vehicles and troopers. And then when he goes jogging on a dirt road in the country, he's followed by all these SUVs and state troopers. And she says, I know that's paid for by the taxpayers. Are you going to do that if you're governor? I can tell you when I go jogging, I won't need a retinue of state troopers. I know that the people of Texas are good and safe people. I'd rather see those state troopers protecting our border rather than protecting my job. Wouldn't that be great if we had that? In Rick Perry's Texas, we're the leader in the nation, the #1 in the nation. In Rick Perry's Texas, we're the #1 in the nation in homeowners insurance rates. Our candidate for lieutenant governor, Linda Chavez Thompson, mentioned that we were, doing pretty good in the number of, we were having among the tops in the nation in the number of minimum wage jobs that are added. When I'm governor, we ought to be at the top of the nation in high wage jobs that are created. Isn't that what we want in our state? And we know what it is to get there. We got to educate and we got to train Texans for jobs with a real future. We need to make sure that our schools are teaching people, all the people of our states, using all the talents of the people of the states. We got to do a better job of vocational and technical and occupational education in this state so we're not importing welders and nurses from abroad, right? That's what we need in our state. And when I'm governor, listen, I know there's a lot of educators that work hard, that are on the front line of preparing our state for the future. I respect our educators. My parents were educators. My son has just started teaching in the public schools. It's a way to make a living that also makes it different. Just as in military service or law enforcement, are so many who contribute that aren't on the front pages of a magazine or newspaper, or the everyday heroes of our society. But I'll tell you this, we need to be training our kids to have the critical thinking and reading and writing skills for college, to have the technical skills for real careers, not just how to take a multiple choice test once a year, right? We need that in Texas. That's Texas' future. We need a governor who's more interested in getting people from where they live to where they work than the corrupt land grab known as the Trans-Texas Corridor. You remember that? You remember that? And just earlier this week, we outlined an 8-point ethics plan that we covered at a news conference today at the airport with bipartisan leadership in this community standing behind me. And they are simple things that we need to move our state forward. Tell me whether you agree with this. Under Rick Perry, he appoints people to boards that regulate industries, and then those people are allowed, or perhaps even encouraged, to raise campaign funds from the very industries they're supposed to regulate. That's wrong. Rick Perry condones that behavior in government. I would end that behavior when I'm governor. Don't we need that in Texas? In Rick Perry's Texas, he recruits lobbyists to join his personal staff, including his chief of staff. They can continue to work on the very matters that private companies had hired them to push their interest on, even once they get into government. When they leave the governor's office, they could lobby agencies and the governor's office. They could lobby those places using their relationship to enrich themselves. Why? My goodness. The governor's had 7 chiefs of staff. 5 of them have been lobbyists or gone into lobbying, some both. And all combined, they've made many, many, many millions of dollars trading on their relationships. When I'm governor, a lobbyist won't be recruited to my staff and allowed to lobby on the same things that they were hired by private clients. When I'm governor, when you leave my staff, there will be restrictions on what you can do in lobbying people in state government that you used to have influence. It's about time. In Rick Perry's Texas, he has a finance committee with 120 people on it. Their names are on the internet. Just by coincidence, in that group of people, there are over 100 appointments to boards and commissions. Just by coincidence, I'm sure, right? Just by coincidence, those people have contributed, the ones who were appointed to boards and commissions, $5.3 million to his re-election campaigns. I don't think that's coincidence, do you? Do you think that all the talent of this state can just be found among the large contributors of Rick Perry? I don't. I think the talent in this state is spread broad. I think there's people from different backgrounds. I think there's people from different heritages. I think there's people with different skills and talents. We ought to bring all of Texas in to building a team to govern this state with boards and commissions. And I'll tell you what, when I'm governor, we're going to limit the amount that people can contribute once they've been appointed to boards and commissions. Wouldn't that be a refreshing change for our state of Texas?